If you define yourself as somebody who is really conservative, you're not going to be crazy and act nuts unless you're really drunk or something, and then you could say it's the alcohol, when it's really just you finally getting permission to be yourself. The alcohol is your excuse. If you're a really crazy person, you act crazy, outrageous, playful. You don't act conservative because that's not who you are. Very often people say, well, I can't do that. I'm not that kind of person. And I always say to people, really, when did you define yourself? I mean, really, how many years ago did you come up with what you could and couldn't do in your life? How many years ago?
Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on.
I'd like to ask you to take a look at any place you've got a limitation and ask yourself, when did I decide to accept that limitation? And you may not even see it as a limitation. You might see it as just that's who I am. But so often in our lives, we've adapted to be a certain way so that we don't fail or so that people will like us or respect us, but it's not necessarily who we are.
And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up.
So the question is, I said, what if every time the train comes, we train ourselves to celebrate, to feel good, to enjoy? I said, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Every time we're trained, I don't care if you're in the middle of the most important conversation of your life. I don't care if we're doing something what you think is so important. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if all the books are on your chair. I want you to instantly just drop everything, and I want you to jump and start to celebrate like a little kid, like it's the greatest gift of your life. And then we're going to end with a whoa clap, and then we're going to laugh hysterically into our chair. And if you can't laugh, I want you to fake laugh into your chair. Because most of you know, if you fake laugh, what starts to happen? Real laughter comes, right? How many of you have a situation, either at home or in your work environment, where there's some unfinished business? Where there's a situation with a person or a situation that you need to handle, and it's stressful inside when you think about it, so you try not to think about it and do other stuff. But it's got to be handled, and you've not handled it. How many got an area where there's some suffering like that? Raise your hand nice and high. Let me see. Virtually everybody. Good. Think of that situation that really bugs you, and really think about how it really feels if you really let yourself focus on it. And feel what that suffering would be like. And I want you to pick something that on a scale from 0 to 10, where 10 is total suffer and 0 is no suffering at all, that's in the 8 or above range at least. 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't pick a little one because you won't notice in this quick moment enough for you to feel. I want you to feel the difference. How many got something that needs to be handled, you've not resolved it, you're either pissed off or you feel hurt, or you feel worried, or you're concerned, and you've not handled it, and you put it off, and it needs to be handled? Raise your hand if you got, and the pain of it is, if you focus on it, is 7, 8, 9, or 10. Let me see your hands. Awesome. Here's what I want to show you. A group of scientists discovered something about 20 years ago that's amazing. So here's what we found. Research has been done on how we get stressed, and there's something interesting they discovered. When you're born, your heart starts to beat. That's birth. That's when you're alive. I don't mean born outside, I mean inside the womb. There's no brain when your heart starts to beat. What makes your heart beat? It has its own intelligence, and it affects your brain, it affects your life, it affects everything. When we get in our head, we're dead. We overanalyze, we look at things, we get stressed out, but in our heart, we know the answer. So these researchers they were nominated for a Nobel Prize because they found that if you focus on your heart, you put your hands on your heart. Let's go ahead and do it. Put your hands on your heart. In fact, if you would you stand up? I think it'll get more of your body engaged. You've been sitting so long. Shake your body out just for a second here, just for a second. If you're at home, do the same, right? All right, now, put both your hands on your heart. Breathe deep inside your heart, meaning close your eyes if you would, and feel your hands touching your heart. Feel the power of your heart. And what we're gonna do is for 2 minutes, we're just gonna get grateful. Remember earlier I said, the two emotions that mess us up are anger and fear. They mess up your relationships, they mess up your financial decisions, they mess up career stuff, they mess up things with our kids. But when you're grateful, you can't be angry. When you're grateful, you can't be fearful. So we're going to spend 2 minutes of gratitude, but we're going to focus on our heart because research shows wherever focus goes, energy flows. And when you focus on the heart, it changes literally how your brain functions. I could show you an image of when you're frustrated and you'll see EEGs, EKGs. That's the electrical power in your brain and your heart. And they're jagged and they're all over. We'll probably put it on the screen when they cut this. But if you breathe in your heart for 2 minutes, focusing on 3 things you're grateful for, they literally become in sync. They round and they're one. And when they're one, your heart has the answer. So breathe deep in your heart and let's begin. As you breathe deep in your heart, feel the power of your heart. Feel the strength of your heart. Feel the beauty of your heart. What are you proud your heart has guided you to do in this life? Or to give, or to enjoy, or to love. Feel the power of your heart. It beats 100,000 times a day, and you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything. In fact, something loved you enough to give you this heart at the very beginning. You didn't have to earn it, did you? You didn't have to prove yourself. You didn't have to prove your worth. Something knows your worth and gave you this gift. You can call it God, the universe, whatever you call it, but feel that powerful heart that beats and is always there for you and has been for decades, and give thanks for it. And as you're breathing in this sense of appreciation and gratitude, we're going to take about 1.5 minutes and focus on 3 moments in your life you could feel deeply grateful for. They could be any 3 moments. It could be from your childhood. It could be from today. It could have been from 10 months ago. Any moment that you could step back in that memory as if you were there and fill up with a sense of gratitude. So right now, I'd like you to think of one of those moments. A magic moment, a beautiful moment from any stage of your life. What's been one of the most beautiful moments of your life? Yes. So breathe deep, breathe in your heart, and step into that moment that you cherish. And fill up with appreciation, with gratitude, with joy. And feel yourself going into a beautiful state as you breathe in your heart and feel like you're there. Think of a second moment now that you could be deeply grateful for. Again, it could have been at any stage. It could be something little or big. Step into that moment, breathe like you were breathing then. See what you were seeing then. Hear and feel what you were hearing and feeling then. And fill up with that feeling of gratitude, of enjoyment. And then finally, one more moment that you could feel grateful for. What would be a really beautiful moment in your life you could relive? Step into that moment now. Breathe deep into it. See what you saw. Hear what you heard, feel what you felt. Fill up. Fill up with love or gratitude or joy. And if you can feel it, it feels good, fill up with that gratitude. And then ask yourself about that thing that used to stress you a few minutes ago. Say, all I need to remember, all I need to focus on, all I need to do in that situation is what? And trust your heart. It knows the answer that fast. Feel your heart. All I need to focus on in that situation, all I really need to do, all I need to really appreciate or feel or experience, all I need to focus on, all I need to believe, all I need to do is what? And your heart knows the answer. Raise your right hand with your eyes closed if you know the answer. If you know exactly what to do to resolve the situation, raise your right hand nice and high if you would right now. And keep your hand up. As soon as you got it, raise your hand. Perfect. Keep your hand up. And then open your eyes and look at the percentage of people who just in 2 minutes have figured out how to solve what was so stressful. If you look around, it's about 90%. For those of you that are still there, you're kind of hanging on a little bit. And for those that are doing that, there are other techniques, but did it reduce it? Yes, even for those. So for you, ma'am, you didn't, which one didn't raise your hand? One of you didn't raise your hand. Yeah, so did it reduce it for you? So where was it and where is it now? Oh, it went from a 9 to a 6. So we could do a second one and let's stack it. So what I want you to do is This is a way in 2 minutes, you're starting to feel stressed, you breathe in your heart, you focus on what you're grateful, 3 things, and then you look at the problem and from your heart you solve it. How many got it? Let me see your hands. How many got it like this?
Have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. And that each and every one of us, when we close our mind to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us. Having an open mind doesn't necessarily mean finding fault with all of the things that you've been taught by others. It means opening yourself up to the potentiality and the possibility that anything and everything is possible. So having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing really means finding within ourselves the ability to get rid of a trait that I find so common in the contemporary world. Do you know that most people that I meet spend their lives looking for occasions to be offended? They actually are out there hoping that they can find some reason to be offended. And there's no shortage of reasons. They're out there everywhere. The way this person dressed, what this person said, they turn on their TV, they hear the news, they're offended by this. Someone used language that they didn't like. Someone doesn't share the same customs that you. And people all day long. In fact, if you keep track tomorrow, you will find probably 100 reasons that you can go around being offended. But a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing is a mind that says, I'm never looking for anything to be offended by. And that whatever anybody else out there has to say, my response to that is, that's an interesting point of view. I've never considered that before.
I want to encourage somebody out there who's thinking about quitting and giving up, somebody who has been praying for years for things to turn around. You're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about giving up, you are caving in. This is for you.
I'm in a fight for my life. I'm in a fight to be a man. I'm in a fight to be a father. I'm in a fight to be a mama. Some of me wants to quit it and walk away. I'm in a fight. Give me somebody.
You need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit.
He wants you to give up and think nothing can grow there. The devil is a lie. The darkness is not real.
This is not the time to throw in the towel. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to trust God more, to dig in deeper.
The joy is not in the success. The joy is in trying. The joy is in the process. That I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep going at it. See, failure is forming my future. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. I don't want to just know how to make it work. I want to know why it doesn't work. And the only way I can find that out is I got to fall on my face. But guess what? The righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up.
Everybody has something that strikes terror in them to do it. Whatever you got hurt at, whatever you got damaged in, is the thing that you struggle to do. Those strongholds come against you every time you try to move outside of your little prison. And people think you are angry, but the anger is the fruit. The root is the fear. Most angry people are scared. Pull it by the root. Strongholds. Casting down imaginations, envisioning self-destruction, the enemy terrorizing you with what he might do. When I'm discouraged, I need somebody to come alongside me to encourage me that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That kind of talk wakes up my faith. It stirs my faith to know that no matter how dark my situation, God can work it out.
I'm telling you, it's possible to be weak. It's possible to feel overwhelmed, outnumbered, out-resourced. It's possible to feel discouraged. It's possible to be going through something that you've never gone through. And if you were to be honest, would say, I am weak this day, yet I'm still anointed.
You have to make a decision that I will learn from this thing. I've resolved in my spirit that every experience is my education. So the good experiences and the bad experiences, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to discover the opportunity for me to grow and for me to get better. I'm telling you, I've already made up my mind that I know I will fall down. I know that I will stumble, but I already see myself getting back up. Therefore, I'm never down. I'm either up or getting back up. I'm going to learn.
Sooner or later, you're going to end up with just you and God and your dream and your pain. You're going to be the one that's going to have to decide if you're going to go through or if you're going to give up.
You got to go through some things in order for you to get faith. You've got to have some life experiences under your belt so you can talk about how strong your faith is. Because if your faith has never been tested, you can't brag on how strong it is.
Anxiety, it makes us feel out of control, and we're trying to put things in order. And so often the very thing that we're afraid of, it's not even as bad as fear itself. Fear is always false evidence appearing real. And when you abide in fear, you're going to always be running for your life. That's why we're the people of God, and we focus on our faith, because our faith always leads us to life, and life more abundantly.
Somebody needs to know today you're going to make it. Somebody needs to know today you're doing all right. You may not be what you ought to be, but you're not what you used to be. And you're going to get there by God's grace. Don't you give up. Don't you quit. And don't you keep putting yourself down. You're doing better than you think you are.
Yet what I'm learning more and more in life is that it's fear that causes anxiety. The other side of the coin from depression is always anxiety. Anxiety has this ability to stretch your soul thin, and you feel out of control. Depression, on the other hand, is when you feel like your life is being constricted inward and darkness is enveloping over you. Typically, if you have any level of anxiety, depression will follow. If you have depression, anxiety is right around the corner. Having anxiety and depression is like being scared and tired at the same time. It's the fear of failure, but no urge to be productive. It's wanting friends, but hate socializing. It's wanting to be alone, but not wanting to be lonely. It's feeling everything at once, then feeling paralyzing numb.
What story do I want to tell later down the road? See, every stage in our life becomes a story. At some point, you will end up telling them. We have to remember that the decisions that we make today will be a part of our life story tomorrow. So as you're making the decision, you got to ask yourself, what story do I want to tell a little bit later down the road? And if what you're doing does not line up with what you think you want to tell a little bit later, then you might want to rethink what you are doing.
I just want to tell you, don't let this chapter that you're going through make you in your story. Don't let depression lie to you and tell you that you're not enough, that tells you that there's no more better days, that tells you that your best days are behind you, that tells you you're a nobody, that tells you that you're better off dead. Don't let it lie to you, because it's been lying to you so long that you're starting to believe that's true. You're starting to live that out.
Good intentions are worthless. Worthless, folks. When are you going to fall out of love with good intentions? Good intentions are worthless unless they lead to good actions. Nobody ever had their life changed by somebody hoping, thinking. Good intentions are not enough.
Because there are some things in your life that you are not ready to turn loose. There are some sins you're not ready to get rid of. There are some issues and some hang-ups that is stunning your spiritual growth. You can't be all God wants you to be with some stuff you still hiding.
It's time for you to dig up all those seeds of doubt, all those seeds of lies, And at this moment, replace those seeds with seeds of faith. And how you do that is just simply this. How you fight your depression is just simply this. You tell yourself, yeah, I'm going through this, but at least I'm not dead. Find a way to find appreciation. Somebody has it worse. Somebody wants your life as bad as you think that it is. Somebody's praying to be in your shoes, and you're still here. So I want you to keep fighting. You find any reason to survive right now, to make it to see tomorrow.
That drive and that attitude of never quit, it's a powerful force, and it does push you over the edge to victory in many cases. But over that attitude, you have to learn something. It's basically strategic vision and understanding of the battlefield as a whole. So you absolutely need to know when you got to stop beating your head against the wall. You've got to know that.
You're doing the best you can, but you put 1 foot forward and 2 steps remain back. You're trying, but things don't seem to be quite working out the way you planned. You thought you'd be in a different place at this season in your life. You're doing everything right, but you're still suffering.
You got to do battle with your own indifference. Boy, it's easy to coast, especially if you've accomplished something, extraordinary. Now, somebody says, I got to relax. Here's the key. Not too long. You got to make those decisions. The ones that don't turn out to be good gives you experience to make better decisions. Don't let much time go by without making some decisions. The ones that you can make quickly, make them quickly. The ones that take time, take your time. Don't let indecision be an enemy, rob you of the future, empty your bank account. Don't let that happen.
Now, I know that sounds boring, stupid, basic, but it's the truth. The only thing that changes our life long term is when we raise our standards. What does that mean? That sounds so boring and dumb. It means that all of us in life have things we want. We don't get what we want. We get what we have to have. Remember I said earlier, we all get what we tolerate in ourselves and other people. But when you're no longer willing to tolerate something, that's when your life changes. The difference in people is their standards, period.
If you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. Expect things to get better for you because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective.
There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better, and we make so many mistakes. We're the product of our mistakes, and oftentimes the lesson is sitting there right in front of our face. It's there to be learned, but we miss it, or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. And the most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. And we can learn from school and from people and from experience, and we learn from life. You have to process the information. You have to absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind. You gotta free your mind so that you can learn and make real progress. And as far as regrets, some things I wish I would have done differently, of course. Of course, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve on the first try by doing it again? And then why not do it again and again and again? And why not just do it over and over again until you have it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot at this gig right here, life.
I'm gonna tell y'all something really wonderful, man. Albert Einstein has a quote that changed my life, because it's something that we all have and you may have never understood it. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions." If you can get this right here, this can change it for you. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. That means everything you see in this world came from somebody's imagination. Everything. Somebody was talking on the phone one day and it was connected to the wall. And they was walking, they went, "Man, I sure wish this phone would go outside." Everybody in here got a cell phone. Imagination is everything. See, you've been thinking all this time that your imagination was just some hocus pocus. It ain't. I want you to hear me on this one, because this is the most powerful thing that I can tell you today. Albert Einstein had that quote, but Albert Einstein took that quote out the Bible. I don't know who you've been talking to that's been telling you all these sayings about money. Money is the root of all evil. Money can't buy you happiness. Money can't buy you happiness, but I tell you what though, it'll park you right in front of Happy's house. You can at least see if he home. See, listen to me. Albert Einstein took the second half of my mother's favorite scripture. My mother's favorite scripture is, and you've all heard it, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. It just means, really, that the pure essence of faith, it ain't nothing but hope. At one point in time, you're gonna have to get smart now, people. All that hoping after you become an adult, it shouldn't be hope no more. This ought to start turning into some faith. Quit hoping, man. Turn it into faith. Faith is the belief in things that you cannot see. Ask for something from God, you don't know how in the world you're going to get it. That's what ought to be on your vision board. Don't put a bunch of stuff on there you can get. You know what's on my vision board? Things I have no idea how I'm going to get. I got $3 billion on my vision board. Why $3 billion? I don't know, more than one. What you gonna do with $3 billion? I have no idea. But when I get it, you will know I have it. Look, man, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination is the evidence of things not seen. You know why it's the evidence of things not seen? Because your imagination, you're the only one can see it. Nobody can see your imagination but you. But God places what he has for you in your imagination. Your imagination is a preview of a coming attraction God has for you. That's what your imagination is. That's what it's been this whole time. All them times you've been imagining being rich, that wasn't just up there. God put it in your head because that's what he got for you. That big house you keep wanting, God put it in your head because that's what God got for you. When you keep dreaming of taking a summer vacation somewhere, That's because that's what God got for you. Because that's a coming attraction that God has for you. That's what your imagination is. You've been tripping. You know how many times you done wrote your imagination off? You know the danger about your imagination? You tell it to the wrong people. That's the danger. You want to kill a big dream? Tell it to a small-minded person. Boy, they'll shoot it down every time, won't they? You know how many wonderful ideas you've had. Stuff that God gave to you, you thought was, man, this is it. You went in there to your friends and your family, and you shared it with them, and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they ain't see it. You know why they ain't see it? Because God ain't give it to them. Because he put it in your imagination. If he'd have wanted them to imagine it, he'd have put it in their head. That's why people can't see what you're going to be. That teacher mind, look at you, you're standing there. You can't even talk. How they going to put somebody like you on TV? Well, lady, what you didn't know was I wasn't going to stutter forever. You didn't know God was going to get me over the stuttering, did you? You didn't see it. Because nobody else from 112th Street ever been on TV. You ain't think I'd be the first. You know why? Because you ain't see it. God didn't put me being on TV in her head. He put it in my head. I was just dumb enough to think it could happen. When you gonna get dumb enough to think that your imagination is real? If I was you, I'd hurry up and get that stuff. I really would. Some of y'all so smart. That's so much you, I'm gonna be Usain Bolt. No, you're not. Chances of you being Usain Bolt. Quit imagining stuff that really ain't real. Let's hope. Because in that same class, my best friend wrote on the paper at 10, he wanted to be a doctor. I knew at 10, this was an impossibility. Lonnie can't even read. What doctor you know can't read? What you want to write on your paper is what you gifted at. What are you gifted at? What is the thing that you do the absolute best with the least amount of effort? That's your gift. That's what ought to be on paper. God has been using your imagination to show you your gift. I don't appreciate him talking about the Lord that much. I didn't like the jokes. We're here for motivation. I didn't like the jokes. Well, okay, whatever. Somebody always finds something wrong with what you're doing, even if it's okay. Somebody always. But you know what? It don't matter what they say. Because what they say don't matter. Who is these people talking about me? You remember I told you a minute ago, don't try to change yourself. Because you ain't got to change. You know God gonna work with you just the way you are. Listen to me. There will be no more levels for you unless you get to the next level of your faith. There ain't no more levels for you, partner. You where you at.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on, but I never understood that concept. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. Embrace it, because it's inevitable. And I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed, and I prayed, but I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Here's my second point about failure. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown, he made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, disappointed and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. What are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. To not only take risks, but to be open to life, to accept new views, and to be open to new opinions. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, remember this: fall forward.
And we've all had experiences where we were working on something and we knew it was possible, and we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level, you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move. I'm on the move.
Most of us go through life pretending. Most of us go through life like that. Pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay. But if you look at our behavior, if you judge based upon what we do, that really will tell you some true stories about people, because you have to judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit that it talks about. See, a lot of people pretend that they want more out of life, but all you have to do is watch their actions.
We all have weakness. We all have gaps. We all have issues. We all have struggles. And the first step to working your weakness is admitting your weakness. Just because you ignore it doesn't mean it's going to go away. But many times we conceal things and we cover things up because we're concerned that if we'll expose it, we're going to be embarrassed. Have you ever felt exposed before? How many of that sometimes when we expose our weakness, we get embarrassed by it, and because we get embarrassed by it, all we learn is to cover it up.
Have you ever found yourself stuck in one of life's storms? And no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it seems that you can't make any headway.
And I'm saying that the fact that you're still here, that you're still breathing, you've got some more work. And you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. So when you get up in the morning, that you can look yourself in the face and say, hey, I'm living my life on my terms. That's important.
I love myself too much to allow people, things, and situations that are dysfunctional to stay in and around my life. I've gotten rid of all things, people, and situations that no longer belong. You have decided to be on the receiving end of everything that these people want to dump on you. You're the victim in your own house. It's that simple. So when you find yourself getting rid of all things and people, situations that no longer belong in your life, you clear out the clutter.
And so the enemy would love to have you think that you're never going to get over it. My life will never be what it could have been if I wouldn't have. Yeah, we'd all like to go back and do everything perfect, but the whole thing is God is able to take our worst mistakes and actually work them out for our good.
One phone call, one doctor visit, one tick of the clock, and what was calm in your life can turn violent in just a moment. Prayer and a relationship with God gives you the tools and the weapons to handle life. You can stop thinking that life fitting to be easy, because I got news for you, it ain't. That's a false hope to think you're going to have a wonderfully carefree life. That's unthinkable. Faith don't make it easy. Faith makes it possible. You just need some faith.
It's faster downhill than it is uphill. It's easier downhill than it is uphill. It's quicker downhill than it is uphill. And you wonder why you're not being successful. And you're back to the same place that you were. And so what happens is we have a lot of good uphill days, but we have a few downhill days, and the few downhill days cancel out all the uphill days.
So your thinking is your life. You were created to lead and designed to dominate. You don't evolve into a leader. You were created to be one. The manufacturer actually had leadership in mind when he created you. But look at what they've done to you. They've made you an employee. And they told you where you can be employed and where you cannot be employed. And then they restrict how far you can rise in that employment. It's because nobody has challenged the system.
You're called to come out of the crowd. You're called to be counterculture. You're called to come out. Newsflash, the crowd is stupid. The crowd has no identity at all. We just do what everybody else is doing. I was talking to this person today. They're like, I just want to get married so bad, Pastor Rich. I said, why? They said, because all my friends are married. The best reason why you want to get married and spend your life with a person is because your friends are doing it?
Life is serious. The future's serious. It's serious whether you win or lose. It's serious whether you succeed or fail. Life is the struggle to keep death at a respectable distance. You want to live a good, long, flourishing life, you got to push back.
My life is worthwhile. Doesn't matter what I've experienced. Doesn't matter about what I've gone through. Doesn't matter about what I don't have. What's important is that where I am right now, that I live life and I experience my life fully.
Don't miss the opportunity to learn. Take a good key phrase home, use it in your training. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be casual in learning. Get smart. You've had a bad week, just sit down and ponder that for a while. Study it. See if you can't pick up some ideas from a poor week and then make a better week. This is called the possibility for life change starts with education. Don't be lazy in learning. Don't be lazy in picking up the ideas. Don't be lazy in learning from your own experience. Learning is the beginning of life change.
Each of us is in either one of three situations. You are either headed towards a storm, or you are just coming out of a storm, or you are in a storm right now. But whatever your situation, God is in control.
And until your thinking change, you are contaminated leadership. They've never heard such a level of teaching on leadership. Why? Because unless your mind changes, you will never become a leader. Ladies and gentlemen, attitude determines your limitation, which means that your belief system determines how far you go. You can never lead beyond your attitude and your belief system. And that's why your life is what you think it should be and exactly what it is. Attitude is the manifestation of your personal philosophy.
Most of us don't grow until you hear the word no. What is your bottom line? If you don't have a bottom line, it's expected of that man or that woman to continue to cross the line. Most of y'all claim to have a bottom line, but as soon as that person says or does the same thing over and over and over, you give them a pass. So therefore, maybe there's a bottom line to you, but you're not enforcing the bottom line. Someone is aware of the fact that you're not a bottom line enforcer, so then they just keep taking advantage of you.
That's why we have to guard our beliefs so preciously, because our mind goes to work on finding these references, which are real experiences in our life, to prove to us that that belief is true. And so although you may believe it to be true about you, these doubts and negative thoughts you have, these were not your original thoughts. You weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. These are external sources. So important to know, because those thoughts aren't really who you are.
Here's a quote that changed my life forever. You should always expect the things that you accept from people. If you have a bottom line, if you know your value, if you know what you're bringing to the table, then you never, ever should take less than what you know you're worth. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, when it comes to opportunities.
Your feelings don't shape your life. Your beliefs do. And it doesn't even have to be true. If you believe it, it's going to shape your life. And a lot of you were taught things as a kid about you that just weren't true. And years later, you're still acting on false information. Be transformed by changing the way you think, because my thoughts control my life.
Some people want to start with motivation, but you don't start with motivation. Enough motivation, certainly. But here's the best motivation we've got going. The proof of our success. When we bring our dedication and let it show, that's the motivation we want. Right? Not just excitement. Just excitement alone won't do it. If a guy's an idiot, you motivate him. Now you got a motivated idiot.
See, if you go through life holding back, and most of us do, most of us, if we ask ourselves, have we done all we can do? Most of us will have to answer, no, we haven't. We've been holding back. We go through life trying to seek security and not coming outside of our comfort zone, things we want to do, we're afraid to take chances, and we take most of our stuff with us to the grave.
I think so many people out there think that they're cursed or that their life is detrimental, when really it's all a perspective shift. So I want you guys tonight to take some time today, and I want you to think about things that you've experienced in life that you thought were curses, that were really life's workings for you. They were gifts from life that helped make you and mold you into the beautiful person that you are today.
Get smart. Don't miss the training class. Study, learn, grow, change, develop. Never let it be said you didn't learn. Right? If you want to solve your problems, you got to learn. If you want to take advantage of an opportunity, you got to learn. Major determining factor in how your life works out. Each person's philosophy is like the set of the sail. The same wind blows on us all. But what's going to make the major difference? Each person's personal philosophy that sets a better sail, sets a better sail.
Self-love creates a bottom line. Self-love creates a real bottom line, drawing your foot in the sand and saying, anything that you're trying to do from this point on is unacceptable. I refuse to be on the receiving end of any of the mean, evil, and disrespectful things that you just decide you want to unleash on me. It is unacceptable. If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, you should always expect the things that you accept. And I want you to make me aware of what is unacceptable.
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.